Would you have voted for Labour if you knew they were going to ban smoking?
No.
I wish he'd have said something like this before the election and tell the truth. I wish politicians would tell the truth. So I'm a bit unhappy with the way they might bring things in. I'm interested what's best for people, and that is honesty and transparency. Mention this before the election, and you might or might not have got my vote. But just be truthful with people and straight up, and that's the way I feel.
I think for me it's just about too much control. Everybody has their own benefit to judge for their own benefit, and let it be. Let the individual person keep doing what they want to do. If I'm not harming anyone and it turns into someone wanting to speak to me outside the pub, like my friend here, let it be what it should be. We don't need to be governed down to the micromanaged, and that's it really, that's all I have to say.
I think there's an aspect of, if you really want to stop this, great. I think there's this whole aspect of the age ban of like, okay, if you're 18 now, you can buy cigarettes. Next year, you know, the next few that aren't going to be able to, either do one or two things. Tax it fucking heavily, sorry, language, but tax it either very, very heavily, and you're either going to say, I don't care about whatever tax that goes into it, I'm going to still smoke, or I'm still going to drink, or I'm still going to do whatever I want to do. But put that towards something. Don't just say I'm going to tax it and then I'm going to take your money, Mr. UK taxpayer or Mrs. UK taxpayer, and hide it within the budget somewhere else. It's ludicrous and it's an endless cycle. And whether I agree or disagree with Labour being in place at the moment, I think it's a bold move, but I think it's a bold move for all the wrong reasons.
Personally, I think just make it either smoking or non-smoking pubs. And then that will benefit both parties who do smoke and who don't. And you just let it go. You either smoke in this pub or not, red or a green, and let it go.
So when I moved to uni and stuff, smoking areas were like where you would meet more people than inside a club or like inside a pub. Like it's more of a chance to like meet someone one-to-one, I guess.
Yeah. It's a social aspect of going on, I think.
Yeah, definitely.
I think that's
dating.
Oh,
okay.
Yeah. That's interesting.
I think I've only ever met people in a smoking area.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
That's so fair because, like, yeah, again, it is that, like, one-to-one conversation or, like, it's a icebreaker to be like, oh, do you have a lighter or do you have a filter? So I feel like, yeah, that would definitely be missing.
I don't think the government should really get involved in people's private lives. It's not Orwell. It's not 1984. I don't want CCTV at home and tell me how I should, cook an omelette. So that's really what I believe. And so there's a balance to be struck, and to bring this in after the election with such a landslide, I don't think so. I don't think it's a clever thing for Labour. Don't care about Labour, I care about good politics, and we haven't had that for 14 years. Some would say for forever, but that's the way I feel.
Do you think that it could have any potential impact on pubs if smoking were to be banned?
Absolutely. I think the fact that we have outdoor areas is a big incentive for the summer, but during the winter maybe some pub owners might be like, what's the point of having an outside? So maybe less space, which would have an impact in the summer months. But perhaps, I don't think it'll be good necessarily for pubs in general.
I feel like already pubs are kind of struggling, so if you're putting more like restrictions on like clubs and pubs is struggling so much since COVID, so if you're going to put more restrictions on things that people go there to do socially, I feel like people just do it at home. Or like even if you say, okay, so you're not allowed to smoke outside the street, people go over the road. So I don't know. Yeah. It seems kind of like unfair to pubs probably, I think.
What happen is you're going to walk away from the pub and you're going to smoke and it's going to bother all of the neighbours. Or I'm going to leave the pub and smoke and then not come back to the pub.
Do you think it'll damage business?
Definitely going to damage business, especially in the summer. If you're in a beer garden, what do? Yeah.
Well, you don't smoke apparently.
Well, apparently not. So where are you going to smoke?
Yeah, I think it's a very social part of going to a pub. It's a nice way to meet new people. So.
That's very true actually, especially like clubs and stuff. Especially London where you're like meeting people is kind of hard. So it might be kind of, I don't know. I can see if there's like kids and stuff outside, then maybe that's not great. Maybe during the day.
Maybe, during the day would be a good option.
Yeah. It's banned in nightclubs as well. No nightclub smoking areas anymore.
Really? Yeah, I think nightclubs are a different because they
Yeah.
obviously require a certain age to get in the first place. I think it should be legal there.
Also, people that don't necessarily smoke don't really go into the smoking area, so I don't think it would change the amount of people that are like exposed to secondhand smoke and stuff. I don't think that would change it at all. So I don't see how it would help.
Look what happened with bingo halls, for example. A lot of them closed down because you couldn't smoke there. If you want to go with your friends to a bingo hall and smoke, and that's what you do. People have stereotypical views on that, but it's a social thing. It's a gathering of people, and you should have freedom of choice on that.
I feel like it would limit the time you'd spend at a pub. Like, I
Probably
don't
the
think
time you spend there. I don't think it would
Yeah.
stop you, but it would probably stop the amount of time you'd spend there.
Yeah,
And therefore, the amount of money you'd spend.
yeah,
Indirectly.
yeah, which is a shame.
Would you have voted for Labour if you knew they were going to ban smoking?
No.
I'm afraid to say that I don't think bringing this in after the manifesto, Keir Starmer, who I like, and thank goodness the blinking Tories have gone. Somebody who's sensible, decent. I wish he'd have said something like this before the election and tell the truth. I wish politicians would tell the truth.
I'm socialising with you outside this pub.
Yeah.
You're a smoker, I'm a non-smoker. Does it matter? But I've made that choice of going with it.
What do you think about for children? I mean, some people are arguing that it's good because then children will be able to sit in beer gardens.
Yeah, I think maybe the best way would be to have separations, like inside of a plane at the time. Not that we should compare it to a plane, but have separations, maybe an outdoor area where you can smoke, outdoor area where you can't smoke. But definitely banning the entire thing outright is not what we should be going for.
There's a middle way here. I love the idea of phasing out smoking. I do. I feel quite passionate about that.
Do you think the government should be allowed to tell you what you can and can't do with your body?
Look, to some extent, for example, what the vape ban is something that got a lot of young people to smoking. I personally myself started like that. So I think banning that to some extent is useful. But if you're outdoors, it's like saying, what's next, right? Don't drink outdoors. We're going back to a totalitarian state in some ways. And I think we should all have that freedom to do what we want to some extent, unless it's really harming the body and the people around you. But if you're in an outdoor space, smoke goes up, it doesn't go around.